Hey everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a different one. I've had a lot of people messaging me recently asking about how I got started with all this, how I built this business, and how they can pretty much do the same. So I wanted to do this video to talk a little bit about my story and how I got started and how I went from being completely broke with thousands of pounds worth of debt to owning a business that's generated over $1 million. And I did all that from the comfort of my own home. So I want to go through that with you guys now, tell you a little bit about how I got started, sort of like the rough place I was in to sort of where I am today. And hopefully you can take something from that and, look to change your lives as well. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Chris Wane. I've basically gone from being broke with no opportunities in life to building a business that's generated over $1 million, all from the comfort of my own home. And I've done that using different kind of methods that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So hopefully by the end of it, you're going to have some ideas about how you can do the same. And if you're struggling like I was, this might give you a little bit of hope that things do change, things can change. And if you put the effort in, things will change. So stick around to the end. Hopefully you'll find this useful. And for those of you that are subscribed to the channel, those of you that do watch the content, this is going to give you a little bit more of a background about how I got started, because it wasn't that long ago that I was struggling to pay the bills and I was really sort of in a dark place. Now, I just want to throw this out there straight away because I didn't come from a wealthy background. This wasn't spoon-fed to me at all. I came from a family where my parents got divorced when I was 2 years old. My mum had to basically scrape to put food on the table for me and my three sisters. I ended up moving out of the family home when I was 19 and living in kind of like a rough council estate because that's all I could afford. Like, this isn't me being spoon-fed things. I had no opportunities, no connections, zero experience. All this was built from the ground up with no real chance of succeeding with it. So if you're in a similar situation where you're struggling financially, if you're struggling, at home, things can change. You just need to put the effort in to make them change. But I think the thing that stood out for me was I was very much business minded from a young age. I was very much interested in trying to save as much money as I possibly could and trying to make my money go further. And I think that's probably come from the fact that I did come from a home that didn't have a lot of money. So the little bit of money that I did have, even at a young age, still meant a lot. The value of money to me was very, very important from a young age. And I think that's sort of come with me through my life. And that's really kind of been the driving factor behind the success I've had, because I put so much emphasis on making that pound, that dollar stretch. That was the key, was making your money go as far as it possibly could. So I was always looking for ways to make money. So even back in school, when my friends were going out to the shop before school buying packs of crisp and, sweets and drinks and stuff, I didn't. I pocketed that money. That little bit of pocket money my mum ended up giving me for snacks and things at school, I would just keep it. I would store it away. I had a little lockbox stored away in my bedroom that was hidden away from everyone. And every now and then I put some money into it and start saving it up. And I think back then I had like £30 in that box. But when I was in school, £30 was a lot of money. And that's kind of the mentality of it, of trying to save that money and do something with it, was there from a very, very young age. So anyway, this kind of saving mentality carried on through my school years, ended up when I started to go to college. At that point, when I was starting to think about what I wanted to do with my life, my future, where I wanted to go, obviously when you're in college in the UK, you start to think about what you're going to be doing in university. And as all my friends were going to uni, coming up with these different career paths, I did not know what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do. The only thing I knew for definite at that point in my life was that I didn't want to be sat in an office for the next 50 years working for somebody else. That was the only thing I was absolutely 100% sure about at that time in my life. So with that big decision, everyone's going off to uni, everyone's going around the country, going to different universities. I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I didn't go to uni. I didn't bother with it. It seemed like a waste of time and a waste of money for me at that point in my life. And looking back, I'm glad I didn't go to uni, because there's a lot of people that I know that did go to uni who are now have all these, uni sort of debts that they've got, the student loans. They're having to pay that back, and they've got a standard job because the degree's done nothing for them. So looking back, I'm quite happy that I didn't go to uni, but at the time it was a huge decision not to go. And I think that was the first point where I really started on this path to where I am now, was that decision not to do that and to sort of go against the grain from what society tells you to do. But in my college years, when I was about 18, 19 years old, what I always wanted to do was I always wanted to run my own nightclub. Now, at that point, obviously, I'm going out, I'm clubbing, I'm doing what typical 18-year-old lads do. I was going out and I always wanted a really fancy celebrity nightclub, like a really, really high-end nightclub. But at 18 years old, to try and start your own nightclub, I didn't have that money. I had nowhere near that money. So I did what every 18-year-old lad does when they want more beer money. And that was, I got an entry-level job. Just sat in an office, data processing on a keyboard, tapping away all day, inputting orders into a system. And that's how I started earning money. So I started that data processing job when I was 18 years old. And over the next 10 years, I sort of went up that corporate ladder in that company. And I stayed with the same company for 10 years. And I ended up getting a sort of senior management position within that company. But all the time throughout those 10 years, I was always looking for something to do. Right? I was always looking for that next step, that step away from the corporate ladder. I'd fallen into it and I got stuck in the corporate world because that's kind of what you're taught to do. Everyone's taught to do that. And there was always something in the back of my mind that was saying, this isn't right. You don't want to do this. You need to find something else. And throughout the time where I was there on the side hustles in the evenings, I was always trying to find different ways of making money. So I started going on Google, tapping away, how to make money from home, how to do this, how to do that. I ended up doing a bunch of random stuff. I started doing like surveys, that you like 10p for every survey you do and stuff, like stupid things, a waste of time. I started writing my own blog. Nobody read that blog apart from me, so that was fun. I tried Amazon FBA for a short time, but having to buy stock up front and stuff in the position I was sort of too expensive, so that didn't work out. I sold everything that I owned on eBay, hoping to bring in like thousands of pounds. Didn't even get anywhere close to that. That was a waste of time. I tried gambling on roulette machines. I tried gambling on online casinos. Thinking I was smart enough to come up with a way to beat them. Didn't work. I even rented my own driveway. Now, obviously, you guys don't really know where I live, but I live on a typical kind of suburban street. You can park on the road out front. Like, you don't need to rent my driveway. You can literally park on the street. So, yeah, that was a silly thing to do, but it was one of those things. I was always looking for ways to make money. It was always there in my mind to try and make more money and try and break away from this corporate ladder and break free from this 9 to 5. So everything I was doing was getting me a bit of a reputation with people I knew. They kept calling me Del Boy. It was always a running joke. It was always what's your next to get rich quick scheme and stuff like that. I always laughed it off because that's just how I am. But, having people around you that don't believe you can do it is difficult. And if you want to succeed, you have to keep pushing through it. You have to push past that negativity and those walls people put up, or the walls up society puts up. If you're interested and you want to make this work, you have to push through it. But then one day, this is where it all kind of started. I stumbled across a video on YouTube where a guy was talking about how he'd made $250,000 selling paracord bracelets by shipping them directly from China. So this really piqued my interest because I was looking for ways to make money online, probably very similar to how you've stumbled across this video. You were looking for ways to make money for yourself, and that really, really piqued my interest. So once I watched the video, I was completely hooked. I was like, I could do that. I know how to use a computer. That seems really simple to do. I'm going to do it. So I went out and I bought myself 7 paracord bracelets, just 7, straight from China, got them shipped to my house. And I thought, what I'll do is, instead of creating my own website like he had, I'm just going to sell them on eBay, because people are obviously looking for paracord bracelets on eBay. They were selling on eBay. So I put them on eBay and I sold a grand total of 0. Absolutely none of them were sold. And do you know what? I've still got them all today. All 7 of them right here. All these paracord bracelets. They didn't actually sell at all. And I keep them as a bit of a keepsake just because this is how it all started for me. Trying to sell these little paracord bracelets. But yeah, it didn't really go well at all. But that's what really sort of dipped my toe in the world of e-com properly and trying to sell them. And it really got me interested. And obviously the way YouTube sort of recommends videos to you, because I'd watched so much of that video multiple times, it started recommending more and more videos that were like that. And that's when I started to really come across the world of dropshipping. So for those of you that don't know, dropshipping is where you basically ship a product directly from the supplier to your customer, and you never see it or touch the product or anything like that. You basically advertise your product and then you ship it to the customer once they buy it from you. So if they buy it from you for say $20, and you buy it from your supplier for say $5, you'd pocket that $15 difference and you get the supplier to ship it out to the customer. And that's kind of what dropshipping is in a nutshell. So I'd just come across this after trying to sell those paracord bracelets, and I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. Then this is sort of what I might be able to do, because the barrier for entry was really, really low. It didn't cost much. You didn't have to buy inventory or anything like that. So that was kind of what I decided to try and do. Now, at this point in my life, I'd gone through a really bad breakup. I was actually left with around £12,000 worth of debt. I had a low paying job. I was living in a house on my own, paying the bills on my own. And with all that debt as well and everything else I had to contend with at the time, I was in a really sort of bad place mentally. And looking to start a business was always going to be a risk. Even buying those paracord bracelets, that was a lot of money for me at the time. So, that was a risk on its own. And the fact that I didn't sell any of them at the time was actually kind of devastating, because I got my hopes up that I would sell and it helped me out financially. But I'd sort of spent more money that I didn't have on making it work, and it didn't work. And that was kind of a kicker. And obviously with everyone saying, it's another get rich quick scheme, it's not going to work. And then when it doesn't work, that is hard to take. And I think you have to have a certain mentality to be able to push through that negativity and push through those failures, because if you stop pushing, you'll fail. That's the only time you can fail, is when you stop pushing. And I truly do believe that. So I kept going, even though I was in that place. I saw this YouTube video, and I wanted to give it a go. And I knew that I could potentially make something of this if I really tried to do it. So I had to take that risk. So I did. Now, I must have been about 25 years old when I tried to do those paracord bracelets. I think it was about the time that I went through the breakup. But yeah, I was about 25 and I didn't have much money because I was renting my own place. I obviously had all that debt. So buying that was quite an expensive investment for me at the time, even though it probably only cost me about £20-25. To me, that was a lot of money, like a lot of money. So the only reason I did it because of the potential to earn a lot more. I thought if I could sell these, I can make 100, then I'll buy some more and I can make 200, 500, 1,000. That was kind of what was going on in my head at the time. But like I said, I sold absolutely none. So it didn't really work how I planned. And it gave me a really sort of hard shock about, this isn't as easy as it looks. But that was my first step into e-com. That was the first thing I tried to sell. It didn't work, but I got the taste for it. I got that urge to try and make it work. So I started to find more and more information about how to do this. And that's when I started to get more recommendations on YouTube about dropshipping. And that's when I really started to look into how dropshipping works. Now, I didn't crack this first time. I was nowhere near first time cracking this. I think I built about 5 stores after that. I moved away from eBay, started going down the more, dropshipping, Shopify route, and I started building stores. And I think the first 5 stores all failed. Bunch of different reasons, mainly because I didn't know how to advertise properly. So before I started my 6th store, and I was still going, I never give up, I started building my 6th store. And I realized that I needed to learn as much as I can about e-com, Facebook, dropshipping, etc. I needed to learn about all that as much as I possibly could before I started spending any substantial amount of money on Facebook ads. So I did a lot of research. I spent all my evenings looking, learning. I just sort of took it all in as much as I possibly could because I didn't want to go in there and fail again. I wanted to make sure this worked. But on my 6th store, that's when I finally got it. And within 6 weeks of that store being live, I'd hit £10,000. And that just blew it up for me. Obviously, that gave me a really good cash flow to start looking at other products, testing other products, and trying to scale it even more. And that's what I did. I started testing more products. I started looking to see what else was trending, learning more as I was going, reinvesting my profits back into the business to try and scale it even more. And that's when I came across the Oberlo cycling glasses that you probably saw me talk about on the Oberlo interview that I did. Those did over $180,000 by the end of it. And that obviously then snowballed even more. And I got more products. And I ended up growing that business to over $700,000. I then split off and I did some other smaller stores. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. But the smaller stores started bringing in around an extra $150,000 to $200,000 between them as well. So they were quite nice sort of add-ons to my main store, my flagship store. So that brought in almost $1 million on its own, and that was just from dropshipping. Now, because I've always been interested in learning how to make money, and I've always had these little side hustle things trying to go on over this 10-year period while I was sort of going through my 20s, I was trying to figure out how to make money, but I always read that the average millionaire has like 11 income streams or something like that, and then that Warren Buffett, he's got like 72 or something ridiculous like that. So I knew that even though my dropshipping was going well, I had to diversify my income. I had to try and find other ways of making it work, because if for some reason dropshipping ends or it dies or it stops working as well as it does, you need something else. You can't rely on one single income stream. And that's what a lot of people fail with in life. Their one single income stream is their job, just their 9 to 5 job. That's the only income stream the majority of the population have. And that's why so many people struggle when they lose the job, through redundancies or, or the business failing or whatever, that's why people struggle, because they have one income stream. You need multiple income streams. You just do. So hearing about all these successful entrepreneurs, they're all saying you need multiple income streams. So I needed to find a way to diversify what I had. I wanted to grow my business. I wanted to grow what I was doing. So what I did was I started to take everything I'd learned over the last 2 years from dropshipping, and I used the exposure that I got through Oberlo and obviously all the media articles that have been done about me to build my Advanced Dropshipping Academy. And then I started to sell the Advanced Dropshipping Academy to people who were interested in making their own dropshipping business. If you want to learn how to do it, you learn off someone who's done it, kind of thing. And that was kind of the principle behind it. So I launched the academy, and that brought in about $200,000 in around 6 months. And then I started looking at other things. So I started investment. I started doing peer-to-peer lending investments. I started to invest in stocks and shares. I started to diversify that portfolio a little bit more. And then in addition to that, I've obviously got the YouTube ad revenue and affiliates. So that brings in an extra few thousand a month. That's kind of how I went from being completely broke and thousands of pounds of debt to earning enough money to pay my mortgage off, being financially free, bringing in 5 figures every single month. So it has completely changed my life. But 2 years ago, that wasn't it. 2 years ago, I was broke, like dead broke. So a lot has changed. I'm very grateful for that, but it hasn't been an easy ride. I've had to work very hard to get that to happen. A lot of late nights and a lot of hours put in to make it work. So I think the moral of all this is, if you're in a position where you aren't happy with your life, you can change it in a short space of time. You just need to be focused and have a goal that you want to get to, and you need to do everything you can to hit that goal. You need to do everything you can to achieve what your dreams are. So the next steps are obviously to grow what I'm doing. I'm still dropshipping. I still love dropshipping. If you follow this channel a lot, you will see that I still dropship. It's what I do. But obviously I've got the academy going on now. I've got my investments I'm looking at. I'm looking to expand into the consulting world a little bit more. But there's a number of different avenues I can kind of go down. But my ultimate goal is to be retired by the time I'm 38. So I'm 31 now. I want to be retired by I'm 38. So in the next 7 years, I want to have earned enough and grown this enough to be able to retire, comfortably retire. Maybe I'll look back at this video in 7 years' time to see if I did it, because it'd be quite funny, seeing this, I suppose. But that is the goal. That is the plan that I'm trying to achieve now. Dropshipping has changed my life for the better. If I never come across that paracord bracelet video, I don't know where I would have been now. I'd probably be in a really rough spot right now if it wasn't for that video. So I can't remember who did it. I wish I could find it again, because I would give a shout out to them. But that video changed my life. So whoever that was, whoever made that video, thank you, because that really put me on the right path. Hopefully for the people watching this, hopefully this will be the video that puts you on the right path, and you can, go on and do what you need to do to change your lives as well, because it is possible. If you don't want to be working for somebody for the rest of your life, do something about it. Don't just say, I don't want to be doing it. Actually do something about it, because that's the only way it can change. Now, if you follow this channel often, you're probably going to have noticed that I don't go around flashing Lamborghinis, and I don't go around flashing fancy houses and expensive trips and stuff. That isn't kind of who I am. And that comes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, when I was saying about how I always looked to save money. I never waste my money. And to me, buy as much as I would like a Lamborghini, and, it'd be quite nice to have one, the only reason I'd have one is for status. That is literally the only reason why I would need a Lamborghini, and that is to show off. And if someone gave me a Lamborghini, I'd never say no. Do you know what I mean? But to go out and buy a Lamborghini for the sake of having a Lamborghini just seems ridiculous to me. I have a 1 liter Polo. It gets me from A to B. Why do I need anything more? There's still speed limits in place. I can't go faster than the speed limits. That's just the way my mind works. I don't see the point. So yeah, well, that's how I went from being a broke kid with no prospects, no opportunities, no experience, to building a business that's generated over $1 million in less than 2 years, and is continuing to grow every single day. So if you're in a tough spot right now, it can get better. Just focus on what you want, put the work in to get there, because nothing is going to land in your lap. There are no get-rich-quick schemes. You have to work hard. But if you really want to do it and then you're passionate about making it work, it can work. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop me a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because there's a lot of useful content on here about how you can become financially free. So if you are interested in learning more about dropshipping, there are all the links in the description and everything. Check out my other videos on the channel. But yeah, that's the end of this one, I think. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one.